Imagine this. Version 6.2 of Genshin Impact might feel like it's light years away, but the community is already buzzing with leaks, ID lists, and those familiar patterns Hoyoverse loves to follow. And when all those pieces start lining up, it gives us a pretty good picture of what's coming. So today, let's sit down and go through everything we know so far. We'll separate what seems credible from what's still a toss-up and talk about what you should really keep in mind if you're already thinking about how to save your Primogems for this patch. We're going to dive into Durin, Jahoda, Linnea, rerun patterns, and even how strong these characters might be compared to one another. Out of Primogems? Don't worry, I've got a way to save money and get double the Genesis crystals. This is lootbar.gg. It works just like the in-game top-up system, but with up to 25% off, and new users even get a 10% extra discount using the link in the pinned comment. See this? The regular $100 pack only costs $85 on Lootbar, and each update they release an exclusive $77 bundle available for your first purchase every version. All you need is your UID, no password, no login. Just pick your bundle, select your server, enter your UID, and your crystals get delivered in seconds. Lootbar has awesome reviews. It's fast, secure, and trusted by tons of players. If you're planning to recharge for Genshin Impact, Star Rail, or Wuthering Waves, don't waste your money. Click the link in the description or pinned comment and top up now with Lootbar. Safe, fast, and way more affordable. Let's start with the name that's been hanging in the background of Genshin lore for years, Durin. You've probably heard about him through scattered lore dumps, tied to Dvalin and linked to Khaenri'ah and Abyss corruption. Now, all signs point to Durin finally making his debut as a playable character in version 6.2. The strongest clue comes from the ID list found in the 6.0 files. That list placed Nefer as 122, Jahoda as 124, and Columbina as 125. The missing number in between, 123, is almost universally believed to be Durin. Since Nefer is already lined up for 6.1, the natural order makes Durin the 5-star headliner of 6.2. According to what's out there now, he's a pyro sword user. Early descriptions suggest he's powerful but leans toward a supportive or hybrid role rather than being a pure DPS monster. In leaked tier rankings, he was put in the 2nd tier with Nicole, both strong but not at that broken level some characters reach. That honestly makes sense if you consider his lore. Durin isn't just another pyro unit. His identity is tied to dragon power and corruption, which could mean his kit brings new mechanics or buffs we haven't seen before. Of course, everything is speculation until beta numbers show things like multipliers, scaling, and pyro application. But for now, he's looking like one of the most anticipated releases in this entire cycle. Right next to him in the files is Jahoda, confirmed as the other new character for 6.2. She's a 4-star bow user, sitting in slot 124. At first, people speculated about her element, but what we've seen most consistently places her in the lower tier of the leaked ranking list alongside Ino. That doesn't mean she'll be bad, just that she's not expected to reshape the meta like Columbina or Alice might. Think of her more as a character who adds flavor and utility rather than someone you design your whole account around. Since she's a 4-star, she'll also be easier to get, which is a big plus for free-to-play players looking to add variety without blowing through all their saved Primogems. While we're on the topic of 4-stars, there's also Linnea, a rumored new Dendro unit. She's been leaked as a 4-star, but here's the important part. There's no patch number officially tied to her yet. She could show up in 6.2 alongside Jahoda, or she might slide into 6.3 or even later. For now, Jahoda feels like a lock for 6.2, while Linnea is still floating in the maybe category. Let me throw a question to you here. With new characters and reruns always around the corner, how do you handle your Primogems? Do you pull for every shiny new face, or are you more of a patient saver who only spends when it's absolutely worth it? I'd love to hear your approach, so drop your strategy in the comments. Now, let's shift gears and talk reruns, because this is where Hoyoverse's patterns really come into play. One thing they've been very consistent about is Archon reruns. Every new region starts with an Archon rerun in the 0 patch, followed by the others in order. If 6.0 brings back Nahida and 6.1 is Furina, then 6.2 almost certainly belongs to Venti or Zhongli. Looking at past cycles, the sequence is clear. In Sumeru, we had Zhongli, then Venti, then Nahida. In Fontaine, it went Zhongli, then Venti, then Furina. By that logic, 6.2 should have Venti as the Archon rerun, though Zhongli isn't out of the question if they decide to flip things around. Beyond the Archons, there's another rerun pattern that players sometimes forget. When a new region launches, Hoyoverse loves to sprinkle in reruns from the previous region. When Sumeru began, Inazuma characters got constant reruns. When Fontaine arrived, Sumeru reruns became common. So with Nodcry now here, Natlan characters are pretty much guaranteed to start reappearing in the cycle. That means in 6.2, alongside Durin, we'll probably see at least one Natlan 5-star returning. It's too early to name exactly who, but popular picks like Zilonen, Kinich, or Mualani feel like safe bets. When you put all of this together, the 6.2 picture is starting to look pretty clear. Durin steps in as the long-awaited 5-star Pyro Sword user, with Jahoda as a 4-star bow user adding variety to the roster. Linnea is still in limbo, but could pop up if Hoyoverse decides the timing fits. On the rerun side, the Archon cycle strongly suggests Venti or Zhongli, while Natlan reruns are almost certain to begin. The leaked rankings give us a sense of how impactful these characters might be, with Durin expected to be solid but not broken, and Columbina in 6.3 shaping up as the true game-changer. And then there's the story. 6.2 will continue expanding Nodcry, likely opening new areas and advancing the Archon quest. Since Durin is tied to Kenria and Abyss lore, his story quest could connect Mondstadt, Dvalin, and Dragonspine right back into the spotlight, which feels like bringing the game full circle after all these years of hearing his name in the background. So here's the big question. Who are you saving for? Are you all in on Durin because of his lore hype, or are you holding out for Columbina in 6.3? Maybe you're more interested in which Natlan rerun shows up first. Personally, I think 6.2 is going to be a bridge patch. Not as explosive as the big launches like 6.0 or 6.3, but still packed with important story beats and solid roster additions. If you want to keep following along as these leaks turn into real details once beta testing begins, make sure you stick around. I'll be covering every update as soon as we start getting real numbers for Durin and Jahoda. Until then, keep your expectations balanced, and remember that nothing is official until Hoyoverse reveals it in the live stream.